So I found this dice lying around. I want you to give me your right hand. So I want you to take your hand up like that, so that it also comes in the frame, and make it flat. Make it flat completely. So I'm gonna literally shut my eyes, and you can trust me, or I'll kind of turn around. What you have to do is you have to choose any number you like from the die and keep it on top. Then with the other hand, you kind of cup the hand and you cover it, so that there is no way that I
You
would
can
know
see
or
it.
anybody.
Right.
So I'm gonna kind of wear these so that it's even more difficult. And let me know when you're done.
Okay.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Alright. Now keep it like that. Keep it in your hand like that, flat, and say this number in your mind again and again, whatever number you've kept on top, because only you know this number, right? Count out numbers from 1 to 6 loudly.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
This is quite weird. I think you've landed on the number 5. Very slowly take your hand off.
Fuck, bro. So Naman Anand, welcome to So What's Next. Happy to have you here, bro. I want to talk a lot about mentalism, and before doing that, I want you to explain to people what is it you do and why do you do that.
Sure. Thank you so much, Yashas, for having me. So, like you asked me, a lot of people in our country usually still don't know what mentalism is. So it's different from magic. It's an art form that kind of is a branch of magic, but it is different because we don't have any props. Magic has different props. It has coins and etc. Cards, sometimes huge props on stage. Mentalism mein kya hota hai? It's all about the mind. It's using principles of psychology. It's an illusion, creating an illusion that we read minds with the help of these psychological principles and a lot other things. So in a short kind of a version, it's a branch of magic, giving you an illusion that we read minds. We can't just look at someone and touch somebody, and we don't have supernatural powers. So we're not the babas that people think we are. We just use a lot of principles along with a lot of clever showcase. We kind of deliver that.
So it's good you remove the misconception of Babas.
Yeah, a lot of people call me that because they think that I have a secret statue somewhere that gives me the power, and it gives me that Shakti.
Either that or they think it's fake, but I know it's not.
Yeah.
And bro, you told me that you got into it as a kid.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me that how does a kid get into mentalism and actually pursues it as a career?
So a kid who doesn't have friends, firstly.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I mean, honestly, I started out as a magician because I just learned a couple of card tricks, and that made me feel cool because the next day, first thing I learned a card trick, I went and I showed it to my parents and they were amazed. Then I went down, I showed it to my building friends, they got amazed. Next morning I go to school, I show it to them, they were also amazed. So I understood that, okay, 3 times in a row people are getting amazed, I'm doing something right. And it always became a thing that I, never left my house without a deck of cards since that age.
Right.
Till today. And it was always a hobby. But for somebody to get into mentalism, it's a different kind of a zone. I can't teach you everything. You can be the best mentalist out there because you need to have a certain skill set. When I say skill set, I didn't know back then, but I now know that I was kind of honing a lot of skills. For example, intuition, trusting your gut. So I knew I had a good intuition, I had good instinct ever since I was a child, because I'll give a very vague example. That back then I didn't know I would be saying this today, but I always, when I was at home and there was to be a doorbell ringing, I used to know who's going to be outside, who is standing outside, sorry. I had a feeling, and I wouldn't say always, but I think 8 out of 7 out of 10 times I used to be right.
So I have a similar thing.
Yeah?
Like very weird, but yeah, I have a similar thing.
Similar thing, yeah. No, but that was one thing I knew, that I kind of have a good instinct. Then when I started doing mentalism, it helped me. It still helps me. So
Right.
there is a skill set that you need to possess, that you need to kind of hone on a day-to-day basis.
And harness.
Yes, and then kind of use it with what you study.
I was actually going to come to skill sets because
Sure.
we see the final output. Like when you go to shows or what you post on social
Correct.
media, we see like, oh fuck, this is really cool
Correct.
and stuff
In those
like
30 seconds you
exactly.
get to know.
I get
Yeah.
amazed in the 30
Correct.
seconds. But I'm more interested in what's like actually helping you do this stuff.
Correct.
So tell me the skill sets and tell me how do you actually hone or harness some of the skill sets also.
So there's not like a particular list or like a set rule book that I can give you. But a basic skill set for a mentalist, at least which I can say and confirm that okay, I use these. Generally is just being observant observation is the most important skill set that I feel I possess and every other mentalist possess, because when I read body language, when I read minds, it's just through all these principles, right? When I'm influencing somebody, it's all through observation. Like, why do people say that you should know how to read a room? You can't read a room by just looking at people. You read a room by observing people.
I want to go in something very detailed. I want to go in that. You said reading or looking at a room, right?
Correct.
And that's what most of the people do. They look at a room. They don't observe the room. Tell me, what do you observe? Genuinely, like some of the things I know, there's not like a list.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a particular thing I observe. Whenever I meet a set of people, so there have been a lot of instances where, so earlier when I used to, not do this full time, I had a job, and I used to always kind of tell my boss that, if you're going to win a particular pitch or not. We used to kind of go for meetings, and I had a feeling about if this meeting is going to turn around good, it's going to go down, it's going to go well. Because when I used to enter, I used to kind of understand what the person is liking or not liking the first few minutes rather than the entire meeting. So I used to look for there are a lot of factors, right? General mood of a person, the way they're sitting, the way they're talking, the way they're they say that if somebody's looking into your eye and talking to you, that means they're actually interested. So that's a very common thing. But a lot of other things in terms of what they're wearing.
Right.
If the body language, you must have heard that you should never sit like this when you're in an interview or something, because it suggests that you're kind of in a closed communication thing.
And that's why you should be open.
Yeah, you should be, like, if you're in an interview or if you're in a place where you want to be or you want that person to get happy, you should show like an open body language.
Right.
So if you sit like this, or if you're kind of stern, so a lot of these factors.
So interesting thing, as a kid in school, I used to read a lot about alphas.
Yeah.
Like alpha males.
Understood.
And all
yeah. And
so
it's a trendy thing right now. Also.
It's a trendy thing right now, but back then I used to this was what, like 7, 8, 9, 10 years.
Understood,
I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
So, and I used to watch a lot of movies about alphas, and in those things I used to observe about them is that the way they speak, firstly, it's confident is
Correct.
number one.
Yeah.
Second thing is just how they sit and how they talk, which is very relaxed.
Body language.
Exactly. So
Correct.
they are not in a rush. Small things like that. And now today also I observe those things, and it's in my subconscious mind today that how I have to kind of sit, talk, behave.
Because that's the whole point, right? When, for example, when somebody sees a particular trick of mine, okay? For example, if I take a coin, giving an example, and I vanish it. So first time it's vanishing, you'll be like, oh wow. But second time I do it, why doesn't a magician repeat its trick? It's not because it'll get caught. It's because you know what's going to happen. So the charm
goes away.
So it's similarly that you know about these things. So now you're conscious about these things always. Like, for example, if I ever show you a very simple psychological trick, now next time some other mentalist that comes to do that to you, it will not work. Because your mind is already ready for it. It will instantly connect it. Okay, this has happened before, so it's already ready, and it knows the outcome.
Right.
So, and especially when people hear I'm a mentalist, they're like, so tell me what I'm thinking about or what's in my mind. I never do that. I only hit them with what they don't expect. I never ever do things that kind of you expect, because I started magic because of that surprise element, because of that kind of moment that gave happiness to the people, right? To whoever I performed. So now when I do it, it's only things that nobody expects, because I still want that surprise or that
So
charm.
you want them to feel something.
So that is magic for me.
Fair.
Just getting smiles on people's faces.
So coming back to the topic.
Yeah.
You said observation is number one.
Yeah.
What other thing is there?
I think instinct is number 2 for me, and generally, because you have to have a very strong intuition and instinct when you're doing this, because not everything you do. So I can openly say and always tell all my people that I have like a fail rate of 15%, maybe 15 to 18% on an average. When I say fail rate, it means that everything that I do is not short, because every person on this earth is so damn different.
Yeah.
Everyone emits 10,000 different, energies, and it's so different. For example, if I ask you to think of something, if I do a particular trick with you versus anybody else in this room or anybody in this world, it's going to be different. Because you will think about something in a different way versus her, versus him, versus anybody ever. So it's a learning for me. So for example, if I ever decode somebody's password, it's happened so many times that I'm not gotten all 4 digits or all 6 digits. I've gotten 5 or 3 out of it. So it is okay, right?
Yeah.
So, but you need to have a strong intuition sometimes. You need to build on that instinct and follow your instinct a lot of times.
Right.
Actually not.
Which is actually very tough, to be honest.
Which is very tough. And I feel that it generally, not only for magic, just having a very good
Yeah,
instinct can
it's-
help you.
It can help you,
Every
but
day.
there's a lot of fear factor in people. That's why
Correct.
they don't follow.
But that's what, now you develop it
over
over the years.
Yeah.
So I never knew that I would be doing this full time, right? But I still had a good instinct. Now when I'm doing this professionally, all those things kind of fall in place, and now I know that okay, I have that, and I was honing that all those years for this.
Yeah.
So it works like that. For
I think that's happened with me. Bro, I feel like I'm reflecting a lot when you were speaking.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the thing
So,
you were talking
weirdly, I have this thing where if I like look at a person, observe a person's
Yeah.
body language and all, and when they speak to me, I just get to know if this person is like a right,
Understood.
you know, like thing. Or,
just
yeah.
judging without judging. Basically.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Understood.
like, if I want to be associated with that person, or
Welcome
in
to
the
my
long
life.
run. Yeah. And I would say 80% of the times I'm right.
Correct.
There will be like 1 or 2 times I'll be surprised that you know
Yeah.
this guy or this girl is like.
So see,
really-
that is another indication that you do have a good
Yeah.
instinct or like a gut feeling. So similarly, when I was growing up all my life, I had various such instances that kind of showed me that okay, I have a good instinct, I have good observation, etc., etc. So finally, when I started pursuing mentalism, it all kind of fell into place. Right?
Yeah,
Because
like you can connect
this
the
was it.
dots
Yeah.
looking back.
I was like, okay, this is it. Like all the things that happened or are happening are leading up to
Right.
one final moment.
right.
That's why that's how this journey is kind of happening for me.
Crazy, man. I
Yeah.
can be a mentalist now.
How?
Give me a third thing. One last thing.
Like a skill set.
Yeah.
I feel confidence.
Okay.
Confidence is, self-confidence. Kind of drives your personality, and no matter how good of a mentalist or any performer, I believe, or any just a normal person also, yeah, I feel that confidence is a skill set that everyone should possess because it can take you places.
Right.
It can take you places that if used correctly, and I feel that with what I do, I need to have a lot of confidence because I'm kind of reading minds or giving the illusion of reading minds. B, I'm trying to reveal things about people that usually others don't know, or sometimes even you don't know. So I need to have the confidence that I've done it right for you to feel it's right. If I do something without confidence, you'll be like, okay, he might be able to do it. So in order to kind of build that anticipation that okay, he's gonna read my mind, and then bang, reading the mind. It's a process, and that only comes off with that showmanship or with that
Right.
personality. So I personally pay a lot of attention in the way I perform, not what I'm performing. For me, showmanship and stage presence and a lot of other things about
I think a
personality.
person needs to see you perform live before they
Yeah.
actually get it.
And no, that's the whole point, right? I feel that my motto is not to show them the best trick.
Yeah.
My motto is to make sure that they never forget my face.
Right.
They will never forget Naman Anand as a human being ever. Not now, not tomorrow, after 50 years also.
That's why you said.
There's competition always. Like, I'm sure if I do 10 things, there are 10,000 other people who will do those 10 things.
Right.
What will make me stand out is me, right? There's nothing else. And
True.
that's why I focus usually and mainly upon confidence, personality, and just showmanship as a very factor.
No, that's
So,
right.
Yeah,
that's
I
right.
feel
That's
confidence.
That's
yeah.
completely true. I think it's.
So I
one
feel
of the-
confidence is like the most important aspect you should possess no matter what field you're in.
Bro, but all the 3 things that you mentioned, all the 3 things are like very important in life.
Correct. And they apply to everybody.
Exactly. So it's not like only in mentalism, but
Correct.
I feel these 3 things as a kid or whenever you're growing up also,
Yeah.
if you just keep these 3 things handy in you, I think you're set
Correct.
up. Like,
I mean, there's no particular source of learning these things. It's
Yeah.
kind of you take it by the day, and you kind of, if you want to do it and if you want to try it, then you consciously do it. Otherwise, there's no kind of like a journal or like a guide to teach you
Exactly,
these
yeah.
things. It's just life that teaches you
bro,
this. I
and
don't feel that.
Remember, we were also speaking about like loneliness.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think that's a big factor. At least not now, but before it was a big factor because there are very few people, like a handful of people, in the country or anywhere doing mentalism as
Correct.
a career.
Yeah.
So how lonely does it get because strange things about people that you've done?
So, like you rightly said earlier, it was a huge mess, and I used to feel that why am I doing this? Should I, kind of stop doing this? But I couldn't stop because now I know this skill, right? I have acquired this skill, and I can't stop doing this even if I want to. But yes, initially I I did get a lot of negativity in life coming back home after performing because yes, I was happy. Yes, I made people happy, but I also knew a lot of things that I didn't want to know. And back then I didn't want to discuss it with friends or family and
Right.
parents because I was still figuring shit out or how this happens.
Fair.
But now, because I've been performing since so long and I've touch wood, I've been grateful enough to perform for a lot of diverse audiences. I know that, okay, if I'm getting to know something about somebody, I know how to not let it affect me. So I've reached that stage where I can confidently go out to perform for lakhs of people even in a day, come back home happy and feel content and satisfied rather than feeling depressed and negative about
But
it.
the experiences that you have or you've had over the years,
Yeah.
you can only share that with a mentalist, right? Like another mentalist.
Not exactly.
You can
Not
share it with
exactly.
anyone?
Yeah. I have I am an extrovert because I need to perform. Like my job makes me an extrovert,
Right.
but otherwise I'm more of an ambivert kind of a guy. Now I've become, because my life or my profession is about meeting so many people.
Right.
So when I'm not working, I want to just be around my
yeah,
close ones.
you want to preserve your energy.
Preserve,
and
yeah, so-
I get that.
Correct. So if I have to share things like this, I have a couple of friends, or I have like my younger brother. So I don't I don't share these things with only people in my profession,
Right.
because they have their own load
Exactly.
of things
Yeah,
as well. Right?
that's also true. Bro. I
Yeah,
didn't
and
look
like
at
you said, it's a very small community.
it.
For people from the outside, it's extremely so small, but I know that it is like a medium to small industry, and not everybody. So this industry runs a lot on secrets. Magic as an art form is just based on secrets, like,
Yeah.
and so is mentalism. Secrets in the way of these principles and all that. So not
Can you
everybody.
tell me some of the secrets?
I wish I could. I do. I can tell you, but there's a famous saying that all of us magicians use everywhere, that we can teach you, but for that we'll have to kill you. So
Right.
it's your choice.
Okay.
You have the remaining time of the podcast to think about it.
I'll let you know after the podcast,
Yeah.
bro. Yeah. But yeah, what are some of the weird things about being a mentalist, bro?
Weird things about being a mentalist. I think first and foremost and the most important, I think the only thing is getting, and I'm talking about India, right? Because we are
Yeah.
currently here. So just the request that people get after my show, it's just unimaginable, and I can't even, like, if I come to think about it, I think we'll have to spend the entire day. But
No, but give me
Uh,
some context. Don't tell me the
I'll tell you, yeah.
detail thing. But yeah.
so I've had, after every show I perform, there's a line of people. I'm grateful enough that I have people who ask for pictures, who ask for autographs and all of that. I hate saying it, but there's this another line of people who are ready with all their life problems,
Okay.
and who want to know things that are the typical Indian things, that they want to know. That I've had women coming up, asking me what will happen with their husbands, what will happen with them, is somebody cheating. The first question every couple, every significant partner wants to know is that if their partner is cheating on them or not. Somebody asked me to come, like, they were ready to pay me any amount I ask. They wanted me to come to their workplace and tell me openly in front of the entire office that who is kind of backstabbing them, and who is kind of doing some mess in the company, and there was something happening. So I figured it out while talking to him, only because he knew the name. He just wasn't confident enough. So he wanted me to do that. So I obviously refused. I didn't do all this. And another very weird request was a lady coming up to me saying that, do you only do this in person? I was like, what do you mean, ma'am? She took out her phone and her wallpaper is her daughter, or I don't know, somebody from her family. She's like, when will she get married? And and before I could say anything, when will she get married? She stopped. I was going to ask something, and then she like, for the third time, I want to know, like, दो बार fail हो गई तो तीसरी बार अब कब होगी? And I was like, what? Like, I was numb. I was like, guys, please. So there are different people who do that, but it's just weird. And typically, like I said, people in our country just want to know when will they earn money, शादी कब होगी,
बच्चे कब होंगे?
बच्चे का आगे जाके क्या होगा. I have had people, I've performed, like I said, I don't say no to anything. So there was a phase I did everything. जैसे वो अक्षय कुमार का डायलॉग है ना, मुंडन शादी सब करो.
Bro,
तो
क्या है कि
मैंने बेबी शावर्स पे परफॉर्म किया है.
Oh.
एंड लोग मुझे पूछते हैं कि क्या होगा, टेल अस द जेंडर, आगे जाके क्या बनेगा, आपके हिसाब से नाम क्या रखना चाहिए. एंड आई वाज लाइक, यार ये मैं कहाँ पे आ गया हूँ. So
But no, bro, I get it. Like, why you say yes to, you can't say no to things.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
more you say yes early on, the more no you can say eventually.
correct, yeah. I mean, and it's also a different experience, right? हर फंक्शन में हर जगह पे इतने मतलब डाइवर्स हमारे इंडिया के लोग मिलते हैं मुझे. It's fun.
It's fun.
As much as I'm saying all this, I love the people of this country. I love, because everyone is so different, yaar.
That's true. Yeah.
Culture is so different. even if you leave this city, like 2 घंटे आगे जाओगे, you'll find completely different type of people.
So that's the thing. Like I feel so people say that social media has kind of helped people come together or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I feel social media has made more people individualistic rather
That's a
than
good
actually
point.
coming together.
Correct. Yeah.
Because when you see reels or anything,
Hmm.
you will have different reels. I'll have different reels. She, him. They all will have different reels.
Correct.
Okay. So that's making someone more individualistic
That's
rather
true.
than actually very
Correct.
together
That is
and
a very
stuff like
that's
that.
a very true point, because fair point actually, because I feel that people have become more conscious about themselves,
Yeah.
and
And I can see
everything
that.
matters.
Yeah, like when you also said all these things, now people are more insecure, which is not a bad thing, but yeah, it's the case that has always
Correct.
been there in Indians.
Obviously, yeah. And with social media, I think it's even more, because now people are worried what others will think
Yeah,
and what others will not think.
yeah,
So they know that if they're going to a Paris, they have to show it on Instagram. Otherwise, they'll not get that validation if they just say that they've been to Paris.
right,
Otherwise.
that's true.
So yes, that is true. That's
Drake-
where the
Drake
world is
spoke,
heading.
Yeah, Drake spoke about it in
Correct.
a song. Anyway, yeah. So as a mentalist, I know there's a lot of energy involved. Where let's say you do a live show or somewhere today, and after that you're kind of drained. So can you explain why does it happen and what toll it kind of takes on your mind?
Yeah. So that is true that it's quite draining, because I'll come to the energies bit, but it's also because you're talking, right?
Yeah.
So you don't realize, but the most energy is utilized when you're talking continuously, and that too if you're interacting with more than one person, right? So you're kind of your job as a mentalist or any artist is to kind of keep everybody enticed, to keep everybody captivated. So you're giving a lot of energy in talking and interacting with them. And as a mentalist, the point is that we have to observe people, right? The point is to read people's mind, and the point is to make them happy. So I feel that our energies are drained because we're kind of focusing way too much, rather than just like if you talk to me, you're just talking to me. But if I'm talking to you and I'm performing with you, I'm also doing 10 other things that you don't do generally. So those 10 other things that we do, like observing body language and kind of micro observing your
That's the illusion
expressions.
you create also.
Correct. So getting those things out, to focus on that, to kind of calculate that in my head. Okay, this thing means that. This thing means that. Okay, he's this kind of a person, not this kind of a person. He's thinking about that, not that. So all of that combined, I feel that drains a lot of
That's true.
an energy of a performer. Like मेरा एक चीज़ है that no matter how much I eat before a show, as soon as I get down out of my show from the stage, I feel hungry.
No, that's true.
Because
That's true.
I get that hunger attack. I have to eat something.
So even when I started podcasting earlier, it used to drain a lot of energy for some reason. Now I'm
Correct.
used to it.
Even though you're just sitting and
Exactly. And I feel when I observe also a lot of people, after that I'm usually very tired and I just
Correct.
don't want to think.
talking. Yeah.
But that's because I'm not doing it on a consistent basis.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
do it, so now you're used to it.
Correct. I though like to, so touch wood, I travel for all my shows. So the return flight or something is my cutoff period. I just put on my headphones and I close my eyes and I'm just out of the world.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want anything. My phone is shut. Everything
That's
is shut.
why you say that you're an ambivert, bro, and I get that. I completely get that.
because my profession is just being with people 24/7.
Exactly.
So my kind of retreat is not being with people, being with myself or being with close people, friends and family.
Yeah.
Because उसके अलावा तो पूरा time I'm with people only.
हाँ.
After this also I have a show in the evening today. I'm going to meet 1,500, 2,000 people. So
That's true.
Yeah,
I get that.
that's-
So now let's come to some live things that we can do.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
there's no podcast ever or no interaction ever
Ever
or no
that you
meeting
have
ever with me without that course. And I would love to kind of make you experience something, make people sitting here and the people that are watching us kind of experiences. Okay. So I think I'll not do something very, basic and simple. I feel that if I do a basic mind reading, that everybody is expecting that I'm a mind reader, so I'll kind of read your mind and guess your first crush and all of that
No,
crap.
no.
As a mentalist, we people influence, or I would rather say plant a lot of thoughts in people's
Yeah.
mind. So
It's like Inception.
correct. So I mean, I would say that most of the job of a mentalist is more than reading minds, is to influence minds. Because with certain principles and techniques we know, we can plant a lot of suggestions in your head without you actually knowing. Usually I decode people's passwords, right? And I do that. I've been doing that since so many years now. So I thought today everybody in this room and you will decode my phone's password. Now, for everybody watching us at home, you genuinely don't have any idea what my password
Yeah,
is. Yes.
no fucking clue.
The only thing I'm going to tell you and everybody, I'm going to kind of show this to the camera. I'm going to increase the brightness. Let me know if this is visible. So I have a 4-digit password is what I'm going to tell people. I start with you, just as a very random kind of a thing. Give me a random 4-digit number. Random. But don't think much.
4, 5, 6, 7.
4, 5, 6, 7. So there goes 4, 5, 6, 7. It doesn't unlock, obviously. It's a random number. Now we'll try this. We have people sitting in the studio, so we'll take a couple of random things. I want you to give me a random number. 4-digit.
2580.
2580, most common, one of the most common passwords in the world.
That's so
2580 doesn't unlock as well. You can also give me a random 4-digit number. 4239. आपका पासवर्ड तो नहीं है वो? So, 4239 doesn't unlock as well, of course. Like, why would it unlock? I'm a mentalist. I wouldn't keep the most common password in the world. I won't keep random passwords. But in this process, I have influenced each and every one of you, and you just don't know it. Okay. I want you. There are 4 people here right now. I want all 4 of you to think about a single-digit number in your mind. Don't tell me. That comes naturally to you first, all right? Now you decide who goes first, who goes second, who goes third, and who goes fourth. So who goes first?
Aisha?
Tell me the single-digit number you have in your mind.
7.
7. According to you, you're choosing her first, all right? So that means the number you have is 7. So that means, according to you, 7 should be the first digit of my password. Who's number 2, according to you?
Neil.
What do you genuinely think is the second digit of my phone's password? 7. That was the number in your mind as well. I'm smiling for a reason. Don't go by my face. Do you want to change or do you want to stick to it? 100%? So what do you want to do? 7? 7 right there. Who do you feel? Okay. What do you think is the third? You already have a number. Just say it. Yeah, I can sense it. Sorry?
4.
You want to stick to that?
Yeah.
For sure?
Yeah.
4? I press 4 right there.
9.
And now, see, before I even got to the aspect, I love how humans are ready for it, because I asked 3 people numbers, so you were expecting this to come to you. All right. You genuinely think 9 is the 4th digit of my password? We had a 7, we had a 7, we had a 4, and now we have a 9. So 7749 is my password according to you guys. Did I
Yeah.
ever tell you this?
No.
Never.
No.
In this process, before this also, did I ever hint anything?
No,
But
no,
that's
no.
the beauty of what I do. It's all hidden in plain sight.
You just planted something in my
Because-
brain.
Because I put 7, I put a 4, and now, for everybody watching at home, I'm gonna press 9, and that unlocks my
Fuck,
phone right
bro.
there. Thank you. I definitely knew this was gonna come. So since the time I entered this room, I've been conditioning all of you for this, and you just didn't realize it. So since the time I entered this room, I started conditioning all of you.
Define conditioning.
Conditioning is the process where I basically subtly kind of suggest things to your subconscious. That's what brands do, right?
Yeah.
Why do you see hoardings? So there's a very
Neuromarketing.
famous study. Like if for example you leave this building and go home, there's a certain route you follow since the past 10 years, and there is if there is a certain brand of, let's say, biscuits, okay, that there's a poster there every day. When you go to a supermarket and you want to try a different biscuit, there are 10,000 options, but you'll pick this one. You'll not know why, but it's that same biscuit that you'll pick up. That's a very big study that happens. So subconscious suggestion is used by advertisers around the world.
It's neuromarketing.
Yeah, so it's just kind of attacking your subconscious, because people can't tap into their subconscious by themselves. It's a process. So as a mentalist, I know how to do that for myself, and now I know how to do that for people.
You know, so there was a study done by Coke as well. When Coke came out back in the 20th century, way
best
back,
marketing
best
campaigns.
marketing company as well. So this thing is red and white,
Correct.
but it's most of red.
Correct.
So the symbolism here is that they use red to kind of tap into your subconscious mind, because it's the most observant color that
Visual
people,
color, out of
visual
all the-
color,
yeah,
exactly.
shortest wavelength.
Yeah,
Physics teacher should be proud.
Yeah. So that's why they use that color
Yeah.
to kind of tap in your
Yeah, yeah.
subconscious. And then
100%.
there was a social experiment also done with this, that people kind of choose Coke more than Pepsi, not because it just tastes better or
Taste,
something.
it's because of the visual.
Exactly.
That's the beauty of what I do, because I feel that whatever I do can be applied to anything and everything. It's not just tricks, or it's just not just kind of a set of people. Anywhere I'm lucky enough to travel around the world to do this, and I just feel that all these principles, all these tricks, all these experiments are so diverse. I can do it with anyone, and I learn. So my learning when I go back home, it's not like math. I don't have to practice formulas. Today, for example, I did this with y'all. I'll go back home and not essentially today, but somewhere later in this week, I will analyze how this went down with you guys.
Right.
How did you react to a number 9, to a number 7, to a number 4? How easy was it for me to suggest it, not suggest it? So every time I perform, I go back home and I analyze कि okay ये किसके साथ कैसे हुआ था, कब हुआ था.
But tell me some of the weirdest or mysterious things that you've like figured out while reading someone's brain.
Oh, a lot of them, man, a lot. So I remember once. So usually every show I do, there are a lot of like a small portion of the audience has people which we call as hecklers. Hecklers are people who kind of want to poke in everything you do and figure out and kind of make you go wrong.
Yeah.
And I love hecklers. I call them on stage सबसे पहले. उनकी पोल सबसे पहले खोलता हूँ हमेशा. It's like a thing for me. So I had the show once. I remember, where was this? I think it was Dubai. I think, yeah. And I called, this guy was constantly nudging me. I started the show and he's yelling from the audience. This, that. ये आपने नीचे से देख लिया. आपने उसको बता दिया. And I'm ignoring because I do.
Mm-hmm.
I was waiting 7, 8, 10 minutes हो गए. Then I called him on stage. I was like, sir, it's your turn. I think you were very eager to be on stage. And I asked him if he's married. He's like, yeah. I was like, think about your wife's name. I was like, is there anywhere I would know? He's like, no. So I usually write things down and then I show it to everybody else. And then I ask this guy to say whatever he's thinking of. That's how I perform. So I wrote something down and I showed it to the audience. So for example, I wrote Pooja. I don't remember what it was, but I wrote Pooja and I showed it to everybody. So at the count of 3, I was like, so you have to tell us what your wife's name is. So 1, 2, and 3. And he's like, Varsha. And everybody was like, oh. And then I was like, I thought something else. He's like, no, it's Varsha. So I was like, but why were you thinking about Pooja? And his wife was in the audience. I did not know that. I knew there are couples, but I didn't know. And his face, like you could catch it on the camera that his entire expression changed because he was actually trying to kind of, mess around with me and think about somebody else, not his wife. And I didn't know his wife was in the audience, and this was very weird. After the show, he came and said, sorry. He's like, why, you shouldn't have done that. I was like, I did not know that you're going to do this and your wife is in the audience. But, so,
fuck, dude.
A lot of such things happen with me.
Is there anything mysterious that you found out?
Mysterious?
Yeah. Like some dark shit.
Very dark shit, yeah. I think I've gotten to know a lot of things about people that I shouldn't know at this point. But I think it was this very weird thing that I travel. So when I have local shows around Bombay, like Pune and Ambi Valley and all these, I usually go by a car, right? Somebody, like the client books a car for you. So recently, I won't name the client, I won't name when and where, but there was this, so there's a car and a driver assigned to me for the entire day. I go from here, I do the show, I come back either that day or next day. So this is the same guy. So I got this thing of this driver who didn't speak to me all this while, but he had a very weird kind of an aura to him. So I'm a person who reads all that as well. So I got to know that that guy has, I think, that's what I feel, but that guy has a very, very weird past, and in a way that it's connected to a lot of things that people are not usually connected to. And I got to know that one of those things he had done like 2 hours before, like I think not 2 hours, 1 day before he just met me. So this entire journey, and I got to know that obviously while going back home because I'd spent some time seeing him, right? So I don't want to say those things now because that'll scare you as well.
No, that's fine.
A lot of people watching. You want me to tell?
Yeah, I want you to tell.
I think one of the things that I got to know that he's involved in, I don't know, some kind of trafficking in a way. I could understand from the way he was talking to people, the way he was kind of not interacting. And then one of the weirdest thing was that he was a cab driver, and I just sensed that he had more than 10 hit and runs that he had done and people he had killed. That's what I feel. Can be wrong, but
no, that's fine.
Yeah, more than 10 is what I felt.
When you do it with celebs, what are the usual things that they think? Like, you don't need to tell me the exact
No,
thing.
yeah. So, like I said, I as a mentalist, I do it in the form of tricks. Like, I don't do it as a person. I have celebs, I have normal people. I've had every individual come and tell me what I'm thinking about, but I never do that.
No.
I do it in the form of tricks. So
exactly. Yeah.
with celebs, I do the same thing. I do fun things. Like I was with a lot of them a couple of days prior, and I just decoded somebody's first crush. I won't name who and where. That person will see this and kill me. But I've done a lot of things. I've done things where I've made somebody forget their own name for 10 seconds. I've made somebody guess my password. I had revealed somebody's, I wouldn't say reveal, I predicted somebody's next movie's release date. Even when they had not planned. And when they planned, they actually got back to me saying that, the fuck did you even know that we were going to do this? They knew that it's going to happen in 2024, but I told them that it's going to be this date.
Bro, have you like ever thought of shifting to astrology if this doesn't, like
every single day. Every single day, because of the number of requests I get and the amount of money this business
money,
has
bro,
in this country.
Yeah, a lot of money.
I feel every single day. But there's something I'm not still, I don't think I've kind of overcome that feeling in my, there is a thing within that you're conscious, right? You need to kind of develop that in a different way to do those things, because you're affecting somebody very, very, very deeply.
Yeah.
If I say that don't wear black from tomorrow, I'm changing your entire life. You will never touch black because I've said it. So I have to be ready for that.
Astrologers have told me some weird things that have kind of scarred me.
Me too. I love going to astrologers and tarot readers and everybody else as a normal person.
Yeah.
And then when they get to know what I do, they're like, oh, ye to apna wala hi. Then the narrative changes fully.
Sahi hai, bro. Bro, also, it's a very interesting career choice, which is what made me call you here today.
Yeah.
And you're doing it very different, because I see most of them creating content, which
Correct.
you also do, but
Yeah.
most of your earnings or whatever come from corporate shows and events, right? And tell me about that if a person actually is interested and they, let's say, watch this or someone else, right? And they want to get interested in like this as a career option, taking it up as a career option. So what is it that how can they start, and how are the various means for them to make money?
Correct. So, I mean, of course, I'm on that journey of building my social media as well. But for every artist, I feel at least in what I do, corporate shows and live shows, I'm not calling them corporate, I'm just calling them live shows. So for anybody to start, I feel you need to kind of get into the ecosystem of things. You need to get into the entire industry, as they call, and that only happens by performing each and every day. I remember when I was starting out professionally, I just used to leave my house every day, go to, like, I had gotten a couple of restaurants back then. I used to perform at restaurants, because not to just earn money, I was getting peanuts at that time,
like just presence,
just meeting 100 200 people every day, and out of those 100 200 people, I got my first corporate show, my first wedding, all of my first started happening. I used to go for all my house functions. I used to go for every social event I could be at. I used to be there, because I just wanted to perform, to understand how I do, to understand how it's kind of, getting a reaction out of the people, and to kind of tell people that, okay, there is someone like me existing in this world or in this market. And then slowly so for somebody who's starting this professionally, they have to be out there, number one, and number two, they have to be out there to the right people.
Okay.
You need to figure out your event agencies, your hospitality people, and kind of make your promotional material. And just like if you want a job, you need to build your CV, apply everywhere. It's the same thing.
No, so that's the thing, bro. Like when I look at the people who create content on Mentalism also, I remember I told you about this guy in Bangalore also.
Yeah.
No, he does it with people on the street. He'll meet and all. He'll do that with them.
Yeah.
You do it with actors, celebs, and other fellow content creators as well. So there's like a difference of, I would say, people.
Correct.
And that's what makes you also like, I think
credible. So I've kind of figured out my niche. Like I like to perform for a certain category, but that doesn't mean I haven't done street magic or I don't do that. But it's for each its own, right? So I feel my type of content is different in the way with the people I perform to.
Yeah, because some people won't have access to the things that you kind of have access to, or you get access to.
Yeah, I mean, touch wood, it's just opportunities that keep opening up, and it's how you grab them. And I just like to be out there everywhere. I never say no to anything. At least because I've not made it in my career yet. I wouldn't ever say that I've made it. So I feel that in the phase of the career I just don't say no to anything that I get.
Bro, I'm just curious here, what is the long-term goal for the Mentalist? Like when you're 50, 60, like...
Yeah. I mean, so see, as an artist, any artist, it's very difficult to kind of have a sustaining career. You need to figure out things. So, and as a mentalist right now, I would say that it's even more difficult because it's not a mainstream kind of a thing in
Yeah.
India as of now.
Which is
So,
good.
yeah. So the best part is that you are creating a new category. So, but the worst or the downside is you don't know how things will work out. For example, if I want to be a singer, I know that okay, Arijit Singh, yeah, Rahman, etc., etc. I know where they are, so I have benchmarks. In Magic, yes, we have David Copperfield, David Blaine, but there are just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or maybe let's say 10. So, and in India there are none yet.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would say that there have been traditional magicians, but not in today's day and time. People are there, but they haven't made it yet. So you don't know who to look up to. So you're kind of creating your own goals. So I feel somebody like me currently also has a lot of short-term and long-term goals. Long-term goal is obviously to become one of the mentalists that was born out of this country and make this art form as common as it is everywhere in the world, as respectable as it is everywhere in the world. And I want people to open their phone, book tickets for a mentalist show like they do for a movie ticket or they do it for a stand-up comedy.
Bro, you have a big opportunity and a big market, to be honest.
Correct.
Like, I think it is a long
yeah,
term
but
thing.
like I said, it goes both ways.
Yeah, huh.
There is a lot of uncertainty also
Yeah.
because there's nobody who's done it.
Yeah.
So
But that's the thing. That's why it's an opportunity, right?
Correct. Yeah.
But
And
I'm,
of
I mean,
course,
I'm an
I'm-
optimistic person, so
Same,
I
same.
look at
Yeah,
the upside only. But
definitely, yeah. The upside is there, but I am a person who loves to calculate because in the profession I am, there is a logic behind everything, right? So I like to have everything planned with the correct logic or the reason behind it.
That's fair.
So,
That's
yeah.
fair. Bro,
So answering your question, the long-term goal is still undefined. It's like an X or a question mark.
okay.
But I think everything that I do is that only, right? I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, who I'm going to meet. So I'm taking it
Just in
as
the
it goes.
moment.
Yeah,
That's fair, man.
correct.
So if I want to learn about mentalism and all, where can I learn about it?
मैं भेज दूंगा 100 किताबें पक जाएगा 2 दिन में फिर बोलेगा
You've read 100 books about it?
Sorry?
You've read 100 books about
No,
it?
no,
bro?
no, giving an exaggeration, but fuck
Like a-
all boring psychology books that you have to start with. And you have to learn magic also, yaar. You have to have a learning curve where you kind of join magic and mentalism. So you need to know basic card tricks and all because there are a lot of things that you combine, कि for example, मुझे साइकोलॉजी से पता है कि तू क्या सोच रहा है बट उसको किस वे में एंटरटेनिंग वे में दिखाना है वो मैजिक से सीखते हो आप.
Okay.
So-
got it. And bro, usually if a person is like very dedicated in this, or
Correct.
they want to do it, how much time can it take them to kind of learn everything?
Nothing specific, yeah. I feel I'm still not perfect. I'm doing it since what 14 years.
Yeah, but
now,
I think you're
whatever.
like on a, I would say a professional expert level where you can do it in front of a lot of people. Right?
5 years.
5
5
years?
years for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, to be able to do it very professionally and out there. 3 to 5 years. 3 years you will take to learn. 3 to 5 years you will take to perform.
Okay.
Like
Got it.
those 2.5 years you need to perform every single day of your life
Got it.
to kind of perfect. Especially mentalism, you can't practice like cards and all. It's not sleight of hand. It's
Right.
kind of like a sleight of mind. You need to meet people to be able to do that.
Fuck. Interesting, man.
A lot of things to process.
Yeah, a lot of things to process today. That it's a very interesting conversation, bro. I had
Thank
with you.
you.
Thank you so much for like
My
coming on the
pleasure,
show, man. And yeah, it was genuinely a lot of fun.
Thank you. Same here. I'm looking forward to be here very soon again. Thank you so much.